So for yourself, with the ambition or the goals that you've set, have you got goals in mind right now that you're working towards?
For sure, there are some larger goals and then obviously smaller goals along the way. So in our project here in Costa Rica, we have 33 acres and we're creating a botanical garden and a spiritual sanctuary and a retreat center. So that's a big project. We've planted a few thousand trees already. We've created part of the gardens, and we're going to start construction this week on some of the pieces of the project. So we have a 50-year plan for the project, and we have a 300-year plan for the project. So that's in the extended vision, right? So the 50 years, I'm 47, so I hope to live up to 96. That's my goal. And so that'll take me for the next 50 years. But what happens to the project after my wife and I are dead and gone? How does it continue to live? How does it continue to thrive and fulfill its vision and mission? Hence the 300-year plan. And when you think long-term like that, you make very, very different decisions than you would if I was just thinking 1 year or 2 years. Now, obviously, having that bigger picture, clarity of what that picture is, what type of trees are we going to plant, what does the garden do, what is the purpose of the garden, So we have very, very specific ideas for the garden. The entire garden is broken up into 7 smaller gardens. Each garden represents an area of the mind. The first garden represents the subconscious. The second garden represents how to deal with unresolved stuff in the subconscious. The third garden represents willpower. The fourth garden represents intuition. They're all progressively leading you to higher states of mind. So rather than just saying, we're going to build a garden, chuck a bunch of trees on there, and it's just going to look pretty for people to enjoy, the gardens are very, very specific. Each garden has a color theme. So the first garden is red. So we planted red flowering trees so that people come, and that's specific to that particular area of the mind, which in the inner world, so the astral world, is red in color. So we're very, very specific in how we're doing, which makes decision making very easy. So in the first garden, do we put a purple flowering tree? Nah, not so much. We'll put a red flowering tree. We know what to do now. And so even though we have a 50-year plan, now it's coming back about what are we trying to achieve in the next 1 month, in the next 3 months, in the 6 months, in the next 1 year. So now we have smaller goals because it's all those small steps that lead to the big step. There's an old monastic saying that goes, a temple made out of bricks is built 1 brick at a time. So you put 1 brick, 1 brick, 1 brick, and 20 years later you have this giant temple made out of bricks, but it's built 1 brick at a time. So one of our goals now is to complete this project. And then also think through of the other goals of how do we create it so that it lasts 50 years to last 300 years. What are the things we need to think about? Climate change, financially, how do we endow it so that it's financially secure during those times? Who would be the trustees of this project? How would they stick to the guiding principles, to the core values of the project? All that kind of stuff.
Wow. So in your mind, when will the garden be finished?
I think we want to make it open to public in the next couple of years, probably the next 2 to 2.5 years. I think in the next 3 years, the goal is to finish 1 section of the garden and have that open to public, and then probably in the next 6 to 7 years to finish the rest of it. Working with trees and nature is a little bit unpredictable because you plant a tree, it's doing really well, and then one day there's a storm, the tree falls down, and you go like, okay, I'm back to square one.
It sounds amazing. When it is open to the public, I'd love to come. So what will it be, like a sanctuary, to a spiritual? Like how would you describe it?
Yeah, it's a spiritual sanctuary. The whole idea, the purpose behind it is to allow people, to empower people with tools that they can take back, implement in their life to create sustainable change. So the same way that I'm doing with my app and courses, the idea is that I'm a big believer in helping people define their goals in life, as we talked about, the path to get there, and then giving people tools and teaching people how to use the tools, because once they know how to use the tools, they're no longer dependent on me. See, the marketing model for inspirational and motivational speakers is to never solve the problem. Let me inspire you. Let me motivate you. Let me get the crowd of 200 people standing up, jumping up and down and screaming, hugging each other and, swaying and saying like, this is amazing. Then they'll buy your products, go home, do it for a couple of months, inevitably fail because now the inspiration's gone. And then they'll come back for the second round of courses, which you can sell them with an additional add-on and bonus that you can buy for $59.99. And then you just keep repeating the process.
Yeah.
And it never ends. It becomes a drug, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to see you again.
Yeah.
And that's how my guru taught me, right? He gave me a tool, taught me how to use it. And when I went back to him, which I did many times with problems, the first thing he would ask me is, are you implementing the tools I gave you? My answer would be no. I would get up from the chair and I would leave. What is there to talk about? Nothing. He'd given me the tool. I wasn't using it. What do I want from him? But what he passed away. He's been dead for 19 years. But what a gift he's given me. All the tools that he's given me, I can now stand on my own 2 feet, lean on my own spine, and use it to create the life I want to create. What a blessing. If I depended on his motivation and inspiration, I couldn't function today.
I mean, this is something that really got me personally and made me think about the way we deliver our content and the way, after hearing, I don't want people coming back. I really do want to inspire people to make actual change. And I hope that it's made me really sort of think about how we're delivering this content and stuff. But so thank you for that. I appreciate it a lot.
I'll share with you an advice someone gave me who runs a very successful learning program. And he said to me, you really have to care about your audience. And every time you deliver something to your audience, you have to ask yourself, is this something that they need? Is it something that would create impact in their life? If it is, then deliver it. If it's not, then you're not really serving them. And the right way to approach it is in a process, in the perspective of, I am here to serve, I'm here to help you. And is what I'm giving you truly helping you or not? And if it's not, then why am I wasting your time and my time?
So where's the best place that people can find resources? Is there resources specifically to the garden as well? Can we get updates on that as well, or?
Yeah, you can. So in terms of learning resources, you can go to my website, which is dandapani.org. And I also have an app which is iOS and Android. There's a free app which you can download. There's a daily quotes. There's a lot of audio and video talks on there that you can listen to for free. And there's also a journal in there which you can use for free as well on the app, which I encourage people to do. It helps you to kind of create rituals in your life, a morning and evening journal. Very, very simple. Journal that I focus on a few very specific things that probably would take you 3 minutes to do in the morning. But it's a good way that you can track digitally how you're doing these practices. And then I have about 3 courses on the app as well, which people can buy. In terms of the gardens, they can go to a website called sivaashram.org. I'll send it to you. You can put it in the description.
Okay, yeah,
and you can read all about the project over there. And people can also be part of it. People can sponsor a tree. One of the goals of the project that we have here in Costa Rica is to get people to care about the environment. And in order to, because what's the point of doing all of this if we don't have a planet to live on, right? And the idea here is that if I can get you connected to a plant, to a tree, and that becomes the Mulligan family tree, then you'll start to care for it. And the whole idea is that, you can sponsor a tree for $20 or $30 or whatever it may be. That becomes your family tree. All the trees on our property have a number on it. And we have an app. So one day when people walk through the gardens, they enter the number into the app. It pulls out all the information about the tree. It shows about when it was planted, the timeline, who sponsored it. So you can come here one day with your brothers, take a photo with this tree, And hopefully, 50 years from now, your grandkids can come here with you and take a photo with the same tree.
Love
Now,
that.
in order for your great grandkids to have that same experience, they need to understand they need to care for the tree. And if they don't care for the tree, it will die, and they won't get to do it 100 years from now. So the 300-year plan is to really help people think, if I want this thing to be around for another 100 years, 200 years, I need to really start thinking differently. So if I can get with the idea, so we've had people from all around the world sponsor trees, and the idea is to get them to think this is something I need to care for. And it's not like, giving $20 to look after a kid in Africa, does that kind of stuff. You have to understand that you have to perpetually care for something or it's going to die, like a child or a tree.